Hello friends, my name is Ryan. I'm going to tell you a story named The Demon Dancer, a possessed spirit that dances for death, which is a very amazing story full of twists. So, let's start. It was a chilly winter evening in the quiet town of Willow Creek. The streets were wrapped in a thick blanket of mist, and the townsfolk hurried to their homes as if trying to escape an unseen dread. In the heart of the town stood an abandoned theater, the Lumiere Hall, which had been closed for decades. The building exuded an aura of mystery and despair, and no one dared to enter it. Legend had it that the theater was cursed. Years ago, it had been the pride of the town, hosting grand performances and dazzling shows. But everything changed one fateful night when the lead dancer, Eleanor, collapsed mid-performance and never got up. People said she had been possessed by a malevolent spirit, and her death marked the beginning of the theater's downfall. Strange incidents followed, lights flickering, eerie whispers, and the sound of footsteps echoing in the empty hall. The final nail in the coffin came when the theater's owner disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a cryptic note, "The dancer will rise again." Years passed, and the story of Eleanor became a tale mothers told their children to keep them in line. But for a group of 4 friends, Lucas, Mia, Aaron, and Sophia, it was an irresistible mystery. They had grown up hearing about the haunted theater and decided one evening to uncover the truth for themselves. Armed with flashlights, a video camera, and an old map of the theater, they made their way to Lumiere Hall. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Mia asked, her voice trembling as they stood before the grand yet decaying doors of the theater. "Come on, Mia," Lucas replied with a smirk. "It's just an old building. Besides, think about the views we'll get when we upload this video. People love ghost stories." Sophia nodded in agreement. "And who knows? We might even solve the mystery of Eleanor." Aaron, the most skeptical of the group, rolled his eyes but followed the others inside. The moment they stepped through the doors, an icy chill swept over them. The air was thick with the scent of damp wood and decay. Their footsteps echoed ominously as they explored the dimly lit corridors, their flashlights casting long, eerie shadows. In the main hall, they found the grand stage where Eleanor had performed her final dance. The floorboards creaked under their weight, and the heavy velvet curtains hung like shrouds, covered in dust. Mia shivered and clutched Aaron's arm. "I don't like this," she whispered. "Relax," Lucas said, setting up the camera. "Let's record an intro here. It'll be epic." As Lucas began speaking into the camera, a sudden gust of wind swept through the hall, extinguishing their flashlights. Panic set in as they scrambled to turn them back on. When the lights flickered back to life, they saw something that made their blood run cold, footprints in the dust leading from the stage to the center of the hall. The footprints were wet, as if someone had walked through water. "Who's there?" Aaron called out, his voice echoing. There was no response, but the faint sound of music began to play. It was a haunting melody, like a lullaby sung in a forgotten language. The friends exchanged terrified glances. "We should leave," Mia said, her voice barely audible. But before they could move, the music grew louder, and the figure of a woman appeared on the stage. She was dressed in a tattered ballet costume, her face obscured by shadows. She began to dance, her movements both graceful and grotesque. The friends were paralyzed, unable to look away as the dancer's shadow seemed to stretch and twist unnaturally. "Eleanor," Sophia whispered, tears streaming down her face. The dancer stopped abruptly and turned to face them. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and a sinister smile played on her lips. "You shouldn't have come here," she said in a voice that was not her own. Suddenly, the doors of the theater slammed shut, and the air grew thick with an oppressive force. The friends could feel it pressing down on them, suffocating them. The dancer began to move again, this time advancing toward them. Each step she took sent a wave of dread through their bodies. "Run!" Lucas shouted, but their legs felt like lead. It was as if the theater itself was holding them captive. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Aaron remembered the note they had found earlier in the corridor. It was written in a shaky hand and contained what appeared to be a prayer or incantation. Desperate, he pulled it out and began to read aloud. The words felt foreign on his tongue, but as he spoke, the dancer paused. Her smile faded, replaced by a look of rage. "You cannot banish me," she screamed, her voice distorting into a guttural roar. The theater began to shake, and the lights flickered violently. Shadows danced along the walls, forming grotesque shapes that seemed to reach for the friends. Aaron continued reading, his voice growing stronger with each word. The dancer let out a final, ear-piercing scream before collapsing to the floor. The oppressive force lifted, and the theater fell silent. The friends didn't wait to see what would happen next. They bolted out of the theater, not stopping until they were far from Lumiere Hall. As they caught their breath, they looked back to see the building shrouded in darkness, as if it had swallowed their ordeal whole. "We're never doing anything like that again," Mia said, her voice shaking. Lucas nodded. "Agreed. But at least we have a story to tell." Weeks later, the footage they had recorded was mysteriously deleted from their camera, as if the theater itself had erased the evidence. The friends never spoke of that night again, but they couldn't escape the feeling that they had been marked by something dark. And as for Lumiere Hall, it remains abandoned to this day, a silent witness to the secrets it holds. Some say the dancer still performs under the moonlight, her cursed spirit forever bound to the stage. So, friends, this was the story of the demon dancer, a possessed spirit that dances for death. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.